Good evening. So I just wanted to update you on what we submitted for the Tiger Grant application. Les and I had discussions last week with, yeah, it is. Had a discussion last week with the,
Yeah, went black. It was looking pretty nice there last night.
That was kind of rude, but
Or waiting for maybe there was an unveiling coming.
no, we actually didn't get to submit. No, I'm kidding. We had a blackout. It was a long week. We actually got to have a discussion with one of the gentlemen that's the head of the Department of Transportation for the Tiger Grant program, and talked to him about our project and as a rural community, and he gave us a little advice, and it was actually something that our consultants who've completed the benefit cost analysis for us said they also agreed it would be a good idea for us to submit a Plan B or an alternate option. And we knew from the very beginning that our request was sizable, and from looking at other rural projects that had been funded, it would be on the top end of what had been requested and ever awarded. But we've been very fortunate. So, as you know, we put together the original project is what you see up here, the whole entire section, the group 1 through 5, and it goes from Highway 8 all the way past Mountain View Park on Mountain View. And the one section of it, and it's blurry to me from back here, so I'm going to refer to my own map here. But as you know, one section of it we already had been awarded some funding for, and that would be the Joseph to 6th Street section. And so we included that with all of our projections, and we had a concept report that we had already completed for that. And still, even with what we had for in-kind match, or excuse me, for cash match, it was still a pretty big request. The application that we submitted with the full request, and I shared this with Public Works Committee the last 2 meetings, $24,161,000 is total project cost when we combine all of the other activities that we have along the corridor that have either will be happening this summer or have happened within the last year or plan to happen in the next year and a half to 2 years. So for the new money that we were actually putting into it as a city, that would have been $2.8 million match. With an additional $227,000, that was money that is already budgeted for, it already been spent. With the cash ratios and the benefit cost analysis that came from that, the one ratio that put us right at a 1-to-1 benefit cost analysis. So the secondary look that we took, or the secondary option that we looked at was, and not something that we really want to do, but it would be better than not receiving an award at all. And it was a lot of thought to go into it, but we removed the section that really everything from D Street northeast of the project. And that reduced the total project budget to $14.4 million. The city would only then be putting in about $1.1 million in cash. The ratios on that are a lot better in the benefit cost analysis. I did note in the application that the secondary request is not preferable to us, that we really need the assistance with the full request, and that it would take us years to be able to fulfill that secondary request. But with the information we received from the project or the program administrator and also our consultants, we felt that we needed to offer a Plan B. And so we did that. So that was kind of the last 2 days we put that together, so it took a little extra time in bringing it together. But I'm very satisfied with the full report here. It will be on the website. Jen and I have to finish up our links tomorrow, or if anyone wants to come to my office and would like to review it and go over it, it's pretty in-depth. I think we'll post the benefit cost analysis that the consultants did for us, and it's a lot of in-depth information. And it does a lot of ratios that you would never expect. And put together some things for us over the 75 years where the project would save us 4.4 million miles So, I mean, things that you don't ever think of, you know, that it has a huge impact on a community. So we're really pleased with how it turned out, and I wanted to say that a lot of the material that I used and referenced was from the Moscow on the Move travel plan, which is an invaluable tool for us. It had so many different aspects of all functions that addressed many of the questions in the Tiger requests that without that tool it would have been extremely hard to put together a solid application. So, you know, many elements of the project are so very important to different travel options that we tried to describe as many of them as we could. So it really is a multimodal request. It's just not a street infrastructure project, but the benefits that you receive from roundabouts and bridges, you just, I guess, in the beginning you think that that's really just a surface street function, but the safety that comes out of those types of things for all the other modes of transportation are amazing. And so those are a few of the things that, just from even having this cost-benefit analysis done, or the benefit cost analysis they call it, I think, you know, especially sharing it with the Transportation Commission too, it'll make us take a second look at some of the things and focus in on maybe things that we didn't see as important in the past, what the actually reductions are in vehicle miles traveled or in pollution, those types of things. So, so I'm pleased with the application. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll be available to
Lisa,
review it.
Could you tell us what kind of a time frame, so when we may or may not find out?
They told us by the end of summer. Now, to me, that would mean by the end of September, I would think, because of fiscal years, how they work with, you know, state and federal government. So that's what I'm guessing.
Well, that's
That was the
exciting.
closest information they would give us, by the end of summer. Okay.
Dan?
So we did apply for the full amount,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just said, well, have a plan B ready. So we did that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, as long as my letter wasn't for naught.
No.
Oh, well.
No, and one of the things that I wanted to mention too is Jen and Kirsten helped get all the letters together and helped with that, and we had letters from our legislators, community partners, project partners. We had letters from people in public health and safety, state agencies, local agencies. So we had a really, really strong support, one of the key elements of our project, and there was over 10 staff members that helped work on the project and bring everything together. So, I mean, this is by no means my project. It
No,
was
they're-
Les put in, I don't even know how many hours Les put in trying to get the numbers to
Well,
work.
there was an army of people that
Yeah, so
did it and worked hard.
you know, every time we put together a project like this, it's I might be the person that talks the most about it, but I'm certainly not the one that puts in all the work.
I'll
so.
tell you what, Elise, as the mayor, I was pretty doggone impressed about how quick and diligent everybody that worked on it was. I mean, I thought that was absolutely outstanding. Catherine?
I just wanted to ask you, because you referenced Moscow on the Move, is that available on the website?
Yes, the transportation plan has been on the website for quite a while under the, I can't remember which tab it's under for sure, but yeah.
Well,
it'll
no,
come
the,
up.
the reason I'm bringing it up is because you cited that that's a lot of the information, the detailed information that you used in the grant, and so I thought it'd be beneficial for people to know that if they were curious.
And it'll actually be, we'll have a project page up on the website, and there'll be a link to the transportation plan from that, but there's also a link under the Public Works Department for the transportation plan also. We also referenced the comprehensive plan, and we had several references. Jen did the reference page for me. I know there was a lot of material, and so we had just 2 pages of reference material. And the consultants had several pages of different citings for the information they used to put the benefit cost analysis together. So it's a very encompassed project. It's very detailed. So, yes.
I noticed that it's broken down into 5 groups there.
Yes.
So could possibly whoever doles out the Tiger grants, can they like pick and choose those things among those 5 groups?
Well,
Or-
we did present a budget that had a cost analysis for each section. And so they, they could look and say, do you really need the two bridges, But when you take a look at the benefit cost analysis, without the bridges and the roundabouts, the rest of it doesn't have that great of an impact. And that was one of the things that was a bit surprising to us, the safety factors of those two, or those, the two roundabouts and the two bridges are highly valued within this type of analysis.
But they might,
They
like Jim
could
was
give you,
saying,
they could give
They
you
could.
five
like
and
3, 4,
two.
and
or-
5 or something.
They could. All of it is money that will help us do something. And so I'm, open and welcome to anything that they would award us that would help us regardless. So,
Thank you.
any other questions? Okay.
Good job. Very good report, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you, Les, and for everybody that worked on it, because there was a bunch of people and city staff. And as Lisa had said, we had some of our Congress folks write in letters for us. I know the superintendent of the school district wrote in for us. So we had multiple people helping us out in our community, which is a big deal for us in our state. So,
Yeah, I think the legislative letters and the larger community partners are, they weigh heavily within the application. And so I think it turned out well. I'm my own worst critic, so I know some things I probably could have done better, and so I'll be making note of that in case I need to resubmit last year. I will tell you that the program administrator did tell us that this program will be available next year under the FAST funding, and that he had found that out 2 days before. So in the back of my head, I'm started making notes today, even if I need to resubmit.
good job.
What would I do different, or how would I focus on something else as I was reading through it again today? So, if we aren't funded this year, not all is lost. We know that there'll be a program funding next year, and we may be more financially prepared for that. And, something can always be written better, in my mind, so.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Lisa. Very nice.